Justice 3 Strike Force, it's me, Authorian, and welcome back to another dose of Marvel Strike Force. Now today I'm going to be talking about the new character event that's coming out tomorrow, and that is Tiny Stature, Big Problem. Now, I'm going to give you 3 of the top teams that I'll be taking into this event. I usually design 3 different types, just in case I run into a node that I might have problems with. I'm also at the end of the video going to give you 2 good teams that you might want to check out, because more than a couple of the characters that are in my top 3 are a little more on the rare side and might be stuck behind a paywall. So checking out those 2 teams might give you the help that you need when choosing the aspiring trait characters that you need for a team. Up first is the team type I call Overpower. Now, they're called that because they got the best combination of T4 upgrades, gear, and ISO 8 classes. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the smaller details of the members of this team. If you really want to get to know the inner workings of these characters, just reference your roster in your game. You'll be able to get to know them every which way possible. I'm going to let you know how I'm thinking about the strategy for this particular team. Now, my main strategy really revolves around Anti-Venom, Scientist Supreme, and Scream. Scientist Supreme, I want to be able to use her ult to get those negative statuses out there. Of course, they're going to hit the party, but Anti-Venom is really going to make use of those negative statuses on the enemy real quick by flipping them onto himself, creating positive statuses, immediately giving them to Scream, but is also going to give a couple random ones to the rest of the team. Now, whatever else is lying around, Scientist Supreme on her next turn is just going to flip the rest of them. Now, what else comes with this? Well, Anti-Venom is going to be able to keep up that pace pretty quickly, given that the sustain for this team is actually pretty high, so he's going to be giving himself tons and tons of energy, which, you know, in turn is going to create a lot of healing for the rest of the team. If there are heal blocks there, he's going to get rid of those, but most importantly, his basic has the ability to take any positive statuses that are on him and give them to the most injured ally on the team, which is a huge benefit, especially if that character is having a tougher time staying on the field. Now, Scream is going to be moving out there at lightning quick speeds, putting down bleeds, offense down, disrupts, and stacks of slow, which in turn, given the overall speed of this team, is going to make this team very, very quick on everything that they can do. Now, in regards to the rest of the team, as in She-Hulk and X-23, they are there for the biggest parts of the extra safety and offense that I actually need for this team. She-Hulk, of course, is a great tank that also takes speed bar, but most importantly, she does have that taunt. That's the one that's going to take speed bar from the enemy. She's also packing a really good stun that's also going to apply a taunt to the most injured enemy that's out there, which is going to be very useful for the other characters like Anti-Venom, Scientist Supreme, and Scream to be able to take advantage of and weaken that enemy down very, very quickly. It doesn't matter to X-23 because she just ignores taunt anyways with her kit. Now, her kit offensively is extremely useful because it's all piercing damage. But not only that, she's got a great ability block that really cannot be avoided or blocked, because she'll hit you an additional time if it's dodged or blocked, and that one's completely unavoidable. Her basic is going to give herself some evasion, so not only is she going to be hard to hit, she's going to heal just about anything that's going to come at her right away, since she has a built-in active healing to begin with. Now, I have placed an ISO 8 on her that's going to boost her raw damage, and being that it's piercing damage, that's going to be more helpful than anything else. You know, if I did run into trouble where maybe my power level for her was a little bit lower than normal, I might switch that ISO 8 out for some extra boosted active healing. But in this case, that extra offense is just going to be amazing. Now, in conclusion with this team, I am very confident in their sustain. Also, with She-Hulk being able to virtually heal any damage coming to her, given that she has an on-turn active healing, and she will also heal again on her special. Not to mention, she has a class 5 healer ISO 8. Now, given that Anti-Venom also has one, anybody that's the most injured is going to be benefiting from those extra regen and a small percentage heal. Now, depending who that is, that could be big or small. Alright, next up on my list, I call the Turn 1 Dominance team. Now, they're Turn 1 Dominance team because I need them specifically for that reason. There are sometimes these nodes where you only need to kill one character for a win condition, or maybe the first wave has a really strong offense that really damaging. So this team is going to get the ball rolling on positive effects and keep the other team, the enemy team, weak. Now, you already know Anti-Venom and Scream, so I'm not going to bore you with that again. So the overall strategy with this Turn 1 Dominance team is right away I'm going to be able to put a defense down on the enemy somewhere. They're going to take some damage. And we got Electro putting offense down field wide. And Ant-Man's also going to put a slow field wide. And of course, Anti-Venom is going to love all that negative statuses. I'm going to be targeting whoever Loki had that defense down on and be able to benefit from all those flipped negative statuses. And in all likelihood, it's just going to make this team faster and stronger. Now, there is no tank on this team, but Loki is going to provide some pretty decent protection for this team. He has active healing too. I did hook him up with a class 1 healer ISO 8 just to kind of boost his active healing just a little bit. And he's going to be putting out these mirror images that are also going to have evade, but most importantly, it's going to put everyone else in stealth. Now, that should buy more than enough time to get more slows, more offense downs, and more disrupts, more slows all over the place. And that should keep the ball rolling on positive statuses and damage throughout the entire fight. Now, Electro and Ant-Man coincidentally actually benefit from one another between their ISO 8s, given that Ant-Man's going to be able to put a vulnerability out there with his Class 4 Skirmisher ISO 8, and Electro is going to take advantage of that by getting an additional attack. Now, her basic will give her speed bar, so it's going to speed her character individually up a little bit faster. Given that speed up is going to be more of a common occurrence than anything, that should charge up her passive quite well and get a big shot where it's most needed. And honestly, the mirror images will, raise the overall damage quality of this group to a very decent level. Last but not least is my booster team. Now, a booster team is usually something that you can only do if you have the characters that are in the current tune package that the developers have been advertising, such as Stature right now in the Pimtech team. Now, they always usually throw the rest of the team in there for you to be able to play around with. Most of the time, they're separated, so you're not going to get, the best of all worlds, or you're just going to get that first fight easy team to be able to just play with these characters and learn their moves a little bit. Kind of give them a little more value before they put those offers out there. Now, between the three of them, they got a really good synergy, so they're going to work really well on the field. And given that Anti-Venom and Scream is there to back them up, it's going to make them even more effective. Now, between Stature and Ant-Man, you got a really good synergy there in that Stature is the tank of the team, so she does have the ability to flip a defense up, which is not going to be that useful in this event. It might happen more often than not, given that she's one of the tune packages that I was just talking about. So what's the point in having it if you can't see it work, right? But if her HP dips low enough, she's going to basically pass off a taunt to Ant-Man. Ant-Man's going to get a couple stacks of evade. He's going to force the enemy to miss their turns a couple of times, and it's going to buy enough time for Stature to heal back up. I have placed an ISO 8 on her and Anti-Venom that are both healing class and very high. She should have more than enough healing to sustain just about any of the fights in this group. To be completely honest, all three teams, I'm fairly sure they can crush this event no matter what. I just want to be able to be smart and choose the best team possible. But having options like tools is the best way to go if you have the roster to do so. Now, in addition to Ant-Man's kit on this particular team is going to be Wasp. In his basic, he can copy positive statuses, and he's going to actually pass those over to Wasp also. So her overall combat effectiveness will go up just from Ant-Man being able to attack with his basic. He is going to be putting out a little more damage with his ultimate, and he's got a great ability block to take advantage of. Wasp has an ultimate that can't be countered, which will do damage to even stealth enemies, as she also is packing a stun in there as well. And of course, you guys know Scream and Anti-Venom already. They're pretty much a staple between all three teams in this aspiring trade event. In conclusion with this team though, they're a booster team just for the sole fact that other Pimtet characters will show up, either cloned ones or the brand new ones, and it's just gonna boost the overall effectiveness and increase your chances of a win condition. Alright, so you've seen all three of my top teams that I'm taking into this event, but more than a few of those characters are a little more on the rare side, like I said at the beginning of the video, or stuck behind a paywall that is frustrating to begin with. So for all you mid-level players, or especially those players that really want to take on the hardest difficulty in this event, these couple teams that I'm going to show you right here should give you some great options to deal with that. First up is the armored option. Of course, you got power armor team members here. You got Ironheart, Rescue, and Falcon. They're going to work great together with that synergy that they have. You know, Falcon is going to speed up this team completely all around. He provides a great ultimate, especially if they have positive statuses on the other side. But more than that, Rescue has a barrier and an offense up for the team. Ironheart is packing some defense down field wide, an ability block, and a decent basic. Now on the end caps of this team, so I can effectively spread out the damage, hopefully, of course Sif has a great taunt to be able to get into play, and Loki is going to back her up by triggering a stealth if her HP dives low enough. Now that's the aim obviously here, but what's great is they both have some good sustain because they have built-in active healing. So whenever stealth is triggered for Sif, Loki is going to provide that little bit of extra protection with his mirror images and evasion, which is great, and stealth the rest of the group. That should buy enough time for this team to be extremely effective all the way to the very end. A really neat option that I found looking around the roster of aspiring trait characters is this Brawler team. Well, the coolest part is I've always thought about X-23 being a part of this group, and now I get to use her as a part of that group. Miss Marvel loves hero brawlers. She also loves Young Avengers. And of course, Squirrel Girl is going to join this team to back them up with some much needed healing and clears. And Young Avengers, because of her kit, are going to also benefit from a drain, which is really great, and it gives them very high sustain. Which, because I don't have any ISO 8s on any of these characters, healer class or otherwise, is going to make their sustain a little bit shaky, because a lot of it is going to pivot on Miss Marvel herself. Not only does she provide a lot of assisted attacks to the rest of this team and energy, but her being alive triggers her taunt. Now her taunt should stay up fairly well given that X-23 does have that active healing. Can't really be damaged all that easily. Miles Morales has a great dodge, especially when he's stealth, and all the Young Avengers give each other some sort of boost in HP, which is also great. And given that they do have a drain and that Squirrel Girl has a decent healing, and her ultimate will also drain, it should keep them up for a very long time, and as long as Miss Marvel stands up, they're going to do a lot of damage. Now, especially with characters like Miles Morales and America Chavez. Now, Miles Morales has a great, basic. The basic, if he hits somebody with a defense down, he'll just clear all those positive effects that are out there. His special is going to take speed bar, and he's got one of the best opening ultimates in the game, which is going to do a field-wide disrupt for a certain number of characters. Not a complete field-wide effect, but disrupt is one of the most powerful negative statuses out there, and he's going to be putting that out there. America Chavez has a defense down on her basic. she packs a huge punch depending on how many young Avengers are out there with her, which is pretty much everybody on this team. And she also clears a large amount of positive effects with her ultimate. All in all, this is a extremely solid team. They have a tool in just about every single tool bag that you can think of and is going to get the job done pretty effectively. About the only thing that they can't do is apply positive effects to themselves in any way, steal or otherwise, which can be a pretty big impairment because it really relies on their ability to sustain and create large amounts of damage to singular targets. Well, there you have it, guys. Those are my top 3 teams I'm going to be taking into this character event. What do you think of my teams and the characters that are in them? All comments are welcome. Leave them down below. If you're brand new to the channel and you enjoyed yourself with this video, please consider liking the video and then subscribing to my channel. It's always on the right-hand side of the screen or down in the link in the description below. So until next time, I sincerely hope you do well on this character event. Let me know how you did, and thank you so much for watching today's video.